Dying Light 2 has risen from the depths of radio silence and multiple delays, and we have lots of new info on the game. Here's all the good stuff we know right now. We're breaking it down into 10 categories, so let's get started off with number 10. First, we're going to talk about the story. Dying Light 2 takes a big jump and takes place 20 years after the events of Dying Light 1, but 15 years after the apocalypse, according to the developers. The events in Haran had a ripple effect throughout the world, and the Haran virus, the main issue of the first game, has ravaged the entire world and set humanity back as people fight for survival and resources while living amongst the undead. So this is not your typical, survivors running from their lives after an outbreak, burning cars, setting that type of thing. No, humanity has almost gotten used to living this terrible way, building up and barricading up communities and learning a new way of life. This time around, you're playing as Aiden Caldwell. He's a nomadic, wandering type outcast person known as a pilgrim, who is apparently, seeming from the trailers, infected and searching for a cure. This, coupled with a mystery surrounding finding answers about his identity, lead him to this location seemingly in Europe, known only as the City. Now, the events of Dying Light and the DLC The Following apparently have a big effect on this second game. Traces of the GRE, the Global Relief Effort organization, can be found in the world of Dying Light 2 and play an important role. You will not see any returning characters from the first game, they have confirmed that, but you will come across some references to them at least. It's still pretty simple story-wise from what we know, but we're really excited to see where it goes because as we get into this video, you'll see where the story stuff can get pretty complex. But over at number 9, let's talk combat. So far, it looks similar to the original Dying Light, but with a bit more oomph to it, and more gore and dismemberment. I mean, combat was already really solid in the original Dying Light with a solid progression system and skill tree attached, with you choosing between the different trees which to prioritize, and once again, that is the gist of it here, but a bit more tweaked towards pushing specific playstyles, at least according to what Techland has said. You can focus on mobility and parkour, meaning in combat it looks like you can do more agile moves. Think more drop kicks, jump kicks, downward smashes, slick stuff like that, or more of a focus on just the hardcore melee combat. Think big heavy hits, hand-to-hand finishers, more brute force stuff. Or more of an emphasis on the craftier side, using objects and crafted items to your advantage as the priority. I can expect most players to dump points into a little bit of everything, because honestly, if it's like the first game, most of the stuff on the skill tree is very useful, so it's a lot of tough decision making. It's probably going to be more organic than segmented. Combat-wise, it's worth pointing out we've also seen the grappling hook make a return here. Generally, things just look like they have a bit more impact all around, especially with over at number 8, the most interesting thing about Dying Light 2 is that there are virtually no guns. Well, almost no guns. This is because of the game's vibe. Story and setting-wise, the developers wanted to show a world that has kind of regressed into a new, modern version of the Dark Ages. So low-tech, brutal, and limited because of the situation. Because of that, the guns are in extremely short supply, and while the game is primarily melee focused with a bow and arrow and some spears and throwables, the original Dying Light had a bit of a mix with some firearms. The biggest shift here though is that you're stuck with hammers, machetes, throwables, smaller blades, modified blunt objects, archery, really anything you can get your hands on and cobble together. The one thing resembling any sort of gunpowder shooty bang is a craftable sort of makeshift limited use shotgun. From what the developers have shown, it seems like it's a single hand, left hand operated quick shot, possibly used as a quick close range blast kill or a stun for certain enemy types that you can bust out while still holding a machete or something in your right hand. That can substantially change the flow of things, and although I'm guessing ammo is probably going to be pretty limited on this thing, and it won't be quite like a Bloodborne type maneuver, I still think it could be pretty cool and change things up a lot. Like I said, apparently this is craftable, as well as all your main melee weapons are, just like they were in the original game. According to a developer interview with Play Magazine, thanks to Segment Next, we know there's a new NPC you interact with called the Craftmaster, who can upgrade apparently most of your blueprints you use for crafting up to 9 times, meaning there is crafting progression where each blueprint upgrade means when you craft a weapon, it will have new stats, the cooler feature, another use case, stuff like that. According to lead designer Timon Smektala, some of these upgrades significantly change what effect using such item makes. Either way, hey, we're just down to chop off some heads. Next, over at number 7, the main mode of traversal in Dying Light games is obviously on foot, and in Dying Light 2, they've confirmed there aren't any vehicles, so it's all parkour all the time. And this time around, according to the newest Dying Light developer videos, the game will feature double the amount of parkour moves, with over 3,000 unique parkour type animations. Think more wall running, more sliding, quick climbing, jumping, flipping, with more variation behind all of it to hopefully make it feel faster, more fun, and more believable. Now, we've seen in the world a lot more rope bridges, more zip lines, and what seems to be more trampoline type jump points to boost you around, just making it all in general a more parkour friendly environment. I guess because you're definitely not the only dude running around here. The grappling hook, like we said, also makes a return, although this time it apparently has been completely overhauled to give more of a swinging feel as opposed to it just being kind of like a zip line feel. They've kind of compared it to where the original game it made you feel like Spider-Man. In this game it's going to make you feel more like Tarzan. We haven't seen a ton of it, but the grappling hook was absolutely awesome in the original game, so we're really hoping it's just as cool here and the change is a good one, especially with the added possibility of everything else, the parkour moves, a parachute, and hopefully some other surprises we don't know about yet. All of this because, of course, you're running from enemies. So next at number 6, in case you weren't aware of just the main flow here, Dying Light games are focused around dealing with humans and zombies during the day and more intense, intelligent, hunter-type infected that can chase you down at night. Being out at night reaps higher rewards, but obviously way more anxiety. Because these infected are really fast and really brutal, you need to know your routes in and around the city and be able to navigate them not only super quickly, but also in the darkness with only a few tools like UV lights at your disposal for certain instances. In Dying Light 2, you will be able to lure out the infected out of their hiding places and fight them during the day, along with NPCs. Now, while obviously the regular old slow infected wander a lot of the streets, they've apparently been infected way longer, so they're rotting away. Don't really expect to see too many nasty zombie infected type enemies on rooftops, as a lot of civilizations have set up shop here. Dying Light 2 is definitely introducing new infected enemy types. We've seen more agile volatiles and a lot of big dudes, as well as a bunch of stuff teased, like a zombie with branches coming out of his back, which according to the developers is a specific enemy type that you can make appear in your game world depending on your decisions, which we'll get to in a bit. So that's pretty cool. Good luck fighting that guy. Now next over at number 5, Dying Light 2 is once again co-op. It's 2 to 4 player co-op where one of the players acts as a host now. So the way it apparently works is that only the host's actions changes things, meaning the consequences of story decisions and whatever else are dictated completely by the host player, with the co-op players only being able to reap whatever benefits come from those decisions made by the host. This also means that they could miss out on stuff if playing exclusively through co-op with friends, because you'd be making different decisions. But on the other hand, this style of game with up to 3 other friends is a pretty big deal and quite a bit of fun. And according to PC Games N, a player jumping into the game will still carry over their own progression. Now next at number 4, let's talk about the world itself. Dying Light is made up of 2 big regions with 7 different zones within those regions, so expect some variety. Map size is about double the size of all the Dying Light 1 maps combined at almost 7 square kilometers, but doesn't really take into account the verticality, which these games are pretty famous for. You're going to be dealing with lots and lots of rooftop hideouts and little built-up civilizations throughout, like we said, so expect it to feel pretty vast. I mean, we've gotten some brief glimpses of some extremely far draw distances, and we really hope we can go anywhere. There will be a lot more open world events like the airdrops from the first game, and GRE quarantines and dark places to explore, and I bet there are plenty of other secrets just depending on what time of day you're visiting too. Now down to number 3, let's talk factions. Dying Light 2 is taking even more of an RPG approach this time around, especially with how you interact with people. Techland is fleshing out the world just way more. Like with most RPGs, there are some big factions out in this world, and how you interact with them will have an effect on the rest of the world. But we'll get to that in a second. First, you have the Peacekeepers. They're former soldiers who are looking to implement their idea of law and order in the city. Then you have the Renegades, who are made up of ex-prisoners, and they want to be the ones ruling. Then you have the Survivors, who seem to be more of your everyday person. They have set up safe zones and are the people you see farming and living on the rooftops and all of the trailers. Then you have bandits running around the city who have no allegiance to any of these factions, who also kind of serve as cannon fodder for the player. Each of these factions have their own unique, fleshed out characters that you'll interact with, and depending on what faction you help out or make enemies out of, will have an effect on how the city looks and how you interact with it. Speaking of deciding who you work for, let's move on to number 2 and talk decisions. Now, just like with most RPGs, decisions play an important part of the game as a whole, and Dying Light 2 is no different, and the choices really do matter here. According to Techland game designer Mikhail Dudziak, these decisions are broken down into 3 tiers. First, you have the really big decisions that have an effect on how the main story plays out and ultimately ends. Then, you'll be making decisions that impact the main and side quests that you're currently playing through, but may also impact the game world itself, changing things for you and kind of changing your routes or just changing how people live, but may also impact the game world. And then there's the city alignment system decisions, which is actually really interesting. This impacts what sections of the city are controlled by what faction, and depending on the faction that controls the different zones, will impact how these zones look and feel, and just generally how you interact with them. Certain factions might install more traps to deal with the infected, or they could add zip lines and trampolines to help you get around a little bit easier. So in theory, you could side with a faction solely based on how you want to play the game. Want more ways to get around the city? Side up with the factions that'll add more zip lines and rope bridges and stuff. It's also worth noting that, since we said earlier, Dying Light 2 features up to 4-player co-op. You could jump into a friend's world and just see how it differs from yours based off of the choices they made, which is pretty cool and might help add some replayability. But down to number 1, let's talk some housekeeping and the raw information. Dying Light 2 launches on December 7th, 2021 on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and of course, PC. There's a standard $60 regular price edition, a deluxe edition that will run you more, that comes with a legendary skin pack, wallpapers, digital comic, digital art book, weapon charms, access to the first DLC pack, and a steelbook case. Then there's the $100 Ultimate Edition that comes with everything in the deluxe edition, plus a 2-hour night XP boost, more wallpapers, a digital comic, crafting items, and the second DLC pack. Finally, there's the Crazy Collector's Edition for $230 if you're crazy, which includes everything in the Ultimate Edition as well as a UV flashlight, art book, 3 postcards, a map of the city, a sticker pack, a thank you letter from the creative directors, and a really cool statue. We don't know too much on PC system requirements yet, and we don't know exactly how these bad boys will perform on next-gen consoles. That being said, it is in the meantime worth pointing out that the original Dying Light and all of its content has kind of been bundled up and re-released in a cheaper new package called Dying Light Platinum Edition. There's really a lot of game in this edition right here, and if you can't tell from this video and a few others, we definitely recommend playing Dying Light and its expansions. We're not shilling or anything, this isn't sponsored, but it's just a good game, we recommend it. Back to Dying Light 2 though, expect the game to have a decent shelf life if it supported anything as close to the original Dying Light was. It's early, so we're not going to trust everything they said, but apparently the developers have confirmed 4 years of post-launch DLC and support. So think not stuff cut from the game to just charge you more, but entirely new modes and expansion packs, hopefully. But that's the gist, that's everything we know about Dying Light 2 as of right now. We're very much looking forward to it, of course, as we've said in many videos. But we want to hear from you guys in the comments what you're hoping to see from this game the most. Did you like the first one? Did you never jump in and you're just looking forward to this one? Whoever you are, whatever your insight, we'd love to hear down in the comments. Now, if this video helped you out, maybe informed you a little bit, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We really appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing and maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out new videos every single day. But hey, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.